Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Winthrop Votes the Issues. I'm Todd Sacker, your host, here with my sidekick, Scott McLean, aka the greatest producer in all of Facebook land. How are we doing today, Scott?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. Had a full house, 19 people,
19 people.
and a world champion. I had a world champion in my house.
What do you got on that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my wife's cousin is his name is Brandon Vera, and he used to fight in the UFC, and he went over to one championship out in Asia. It's like the UFC of Asia. It's huge. They fight over in Dubai, and
Wow.
he was the heavyweight champion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Must have made for some good dinner time.
He's a great guy. Yeah, he's a great guy. Easy going, not what you think.
Yeah.
He's not a meathead. He's actually he's pretty smart, man. Pretty smart.
Despite numerous blows to the head.
We'll talk. He's seen a lot, man. And on the political side and the crazy side, we'll talk one day.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me. We'll talk offline. I'll be down there in January in your area, so we're gonna hook up.
There you go. All right, sounds good, man. Sounds good.
So we got an interesting night tonight. We are going to talk more about what's going on in the schools with CRT, DEI, some things we've come across and learned. Did also want to touch on Lydia Edwards and what I've learned. But before we get too far into this, Scott, if you could share the screen real quick for me. I found this quote, and I mean, it's going to be very obvious to a lot of people, but the bottom line here is it kind of speaks to what we're trying to do here and what everyone should be doing. So I thought it was timely. We must always be willing to truly consider evidence that contradicts our beliefs and admit that we may be wrong. I think, Scott, you may recall we've done that a couple times now on the show. But the big takeaway for me was the second part of this, which is intelligent isn't knowing everything. And I put this out there and I want to point to it. We've had many people on the show in my life, probably in yours too, who are laden with degrees and classroom knowledge and all that sort of stuff. But I've always said that that's not really intelligence. Intelligence is the previous statement. You have to be willing to do this. It's what will help us move forward. And, so I thought this was just worth sharing.
Yeah, book smarts is one thing. Anyone can have book smarts, just on different degrees, different levels. But for the most part, intelligence needs to be nurtured, well-rounded. So,
and I would say, like, that was one of the hardest things I ever did was, eating crow when we talked about the golf situation, the golf club. That was not easy.
Right.
No.
Right.
Anywho.
It's took me I don't know, to my 30s to kind of step back and go. I hate saying that when I go,
Yeah.
and say to myself, yeah, it's okay to say you're wrong. It's actually freeing when you're in a conversation, you mess up. And I learned that real fast in the military and in customs. You own up to it. Just own it. If you're wrong, and move on.
That's it.
But unfortunately, in the political realm, amongst the voters, that's a hard quality to come by.
That's very true. So to kind of kick this off, or to actually kick this off, did you have any? I know we wanted to talk a little bit about the Shore Drive development and the hearing coming up. I'm sure you want to give an update what you've learned.
Yeah, the hearing is December 2nd, and it's a Zoom meeting again, and it's on the condo development up on Shore Drive that got postponed right before Thanksgiving. And here's the information. I don't know if you can read it. I'll put it up on the Winthrop Votes Facebook group, and I'll post it on my page. But it has the webinar number, webinar ID. It's for Thursday, December 2nd at 7 o'clock. So hit it on Zoom and be there. Do not let them wear us down. They keep delaying, and they hope, I'm sure, there's something that's probably not their primary mission, but I'm sure there's something in there that just says if we keep delaying it, the people will stop showing up for the Zoom meetings. You can't stop because they don't stop. Those developers will keep coming in. So that's the webinar ID number is 811-7397-8253. Like I said, I'll post this on the Winthrop Votes Facebook group, and I'll be posting it every day because people need to really get involved with this. And also that night there's 11 things that they're going to be discussing, but I'm pretty sure this will be at the top, right around the beginning of the meeting. It should be. But in some of these issues, I'm sure real quick decisions, or they'll be tabled again. So yeah. And there's also that condo that's going up across from Winthrop Market, or I don't know if it's going up or if it's still in a proposal thing. That's another one that's not good. That's going to be 15 units.
Have you seen anything on that at all?
No, but it hasn't been taken off. It's still
No, it has not.
No, that ball is still rolling. And these developers are digging. They're just mining Winthrop. There's another development that's going up. I forget where it is in Winthrop. I'll remember maybe by the end of the show. But it's in a 2,000 square foot lot. 2,000 square feet. Right? Wow. Think of that. 2,000 square feet. The average house is 1,600 to 1,800 square feet on a single level, right? Some are double level, it's 2,000 square feet. So it's a 2,000 square foot lot, and they want to put on a 2-family home with 2 floors on the second floor. So you'll have a first floor, it's probably like a condo, 1 bedroom, but then they want to put another level with, as a condo, and probably the 3rd level attached to the second, so it has an upstairs, downstairs, probably be bedrooms, on a 2,000 square foot lot in Winthrop. That's disgusting. That's the only word I have for that. If that's disgusting, you want to put a 2-family home on a 2,000 square foot lot. Like, that's a 0 lot line then. There's nothing.
Yeah, well, it's right. It's touching the next lot, correct?
They're going to be squeezed. They're squeezing a house in there. I forget where it's at, but I'll remember.
Is there a structure on the land now? Do you know?
It's a parking lot. I think, you know what? It was, who was it? It was, somebody had a plumbing company in Winthrop, or it's not Streeter. Somebody owned a business. Benson's.
Benson Plumbing and Heating. There's
Slope. It's on that lot where that building is.
Okay.
That's where it is. So that's people, like I said, if you don't get involved, this is what's going to happen. Winthrop, they want to squeeze a 2-family into a 2,000 square foot lot. That says it all. But,
well,
it's up to the people.
You can go down the center now, and you can look across the street from the bookstore, or in the old CVS location. Some may not recognize it as that. Maybe it used to be the old dollar store if you haven't lived here long enough. They just put the 3rd floor on, and I think they're going up 1 more. So that's a look at what these types of developments are going to look like. Now, I'll say the facade in the renderings was really, really classy. It fit with the neighborhood as far
aesthetically,
as
right. Yeah.
Aesthetically pleasing. I do think it's a bit tall for the abutters, but you did buy in a commercial zone. I'm okay-ish with the center developing a little bit if it'll help the businesses sustain. And I just don't know if you want to see these types of developments going up everywhere around town.
Well, I don't think people do, but people need to
find
come out of their own little private Idahos and
right.
start getting involved.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what do you got, man?
So, um, I want to address something that's come up regarding the current state senate race. You have two candidates, um, Anthony D'Ambrosio, and Lydia Edwards. Lydia Edwards was in town. I've made several overtures to try to talk to her. We've tried to get her on the show. It's not going to happen. So she gave us the Heisman, so to speak. But what's come of it is, um, I've been told by, well, it doesn't matter who by. I've been told that it's this, we're being a little one sided here on the show and in our group on Facebook, and that may be slightly true. I've tried to find other things that I'm told are questions about Anthony, or we should be asking Anthony. I cannot find anything. It's all hearsay at this point, so it's not even worth mentioning. But Lydia came here and she talked about how she feels about law enforcement. And maybe that's not the right way to frame the conversation, but the question about law enforcement came up.
Right.
And essentially, um, essentially, when she made the when she answered the question, she essentially walked around the fact that she supports the police. She doesn't want to defund the police. There was a conversation about a flyer that went out on her positions here. But I just want to say, I'm not trying to be one-sided on this. I'm very transparent. I'm supporting D'Ambrosio. Both of these candidates, candidly, are not my first choice. The only issue I have any meat on the bone or any issue with myself is this police question. I'm very concerned about law enforcement. I'm also very concerned about her commitment to our community. Um, you know, she's a Boston city councilor. Everything on her website is about serving a certain segment of the population, and I'll leave that where it is. There's not a lot of talk about serving everybody, helping everybody get better education, etc. Um, yeah, I think she's not good for Winthrop. I'm going to say it, and that's it. So, but I want everyone else to decide, and so that's why I want to share some of this information. So, Scott, if you could first share the screen for me. People have already seen this, so I'm just going to leave it up quickly to say that this is supposedly a hit job. We want to create an alternative police mechanism that is unarmed, community-based, community designed, et cetera, et cetera. So now you saw that. Now I want to provide some clarity on that because there's an article that we're going to show. There's an article in the North End waterfront where it talks about city council's proposed unarmed community response
Do
system.
you want me to pull it up?
Oh yeah, can you share the screen,
No.
please? Sorry about that.
Sorry.
So we're in the North End waterfront. City councilors propose unarmed community response system for nonviolent emergencies. Now, there's quotes in here from Lydia, but this is kind of the crux of the issue. The ordinance is going to limit law enforcement response to situations that disproportionately involve certain racial and ethnic minorities. So, and this is another one of my concerns. Why do we have to keep? Anyway, I'll skip that. The bottom line is they want to build a different response unit or a different response point for what they deem nonviolent and non-criminal emergency calls. And this would include healthcare workers, et cetera, et cetera. So let me stop there, Scott, because why we can take this down now, why I think this matters, and you're a law enforcement professional, so you can shed some light on this. Is it fair to say that you never know, even if someone's been a non-criminal, like they're not on the books as a criminal, does that mean it's going to be a non-violent interaction?
You know what the most dangerous call for a police officer to go on is?
Yeah, domestic dispute.
Yes. Right? They're unpredictable. I went on a lot of them. And they're, like I said, they're unpredictable. They're dangerous because we've had situations where we're removing the husband, and all of a sudden the wife turns on us and goes ballistic. And these are adults, and they're physical, and they're violent. Not all of them, but enough of them to where a social worker isn't going to be able to handle that, or they're going to have to get physical. So then what's the difference, right? Now, it's a ridiculous concept. It's an absolutely ridiculous concept.
I mean, is there anywhere, have you seen it anywhere being implemented?
No, okay. I don't know. And the thing about it is this. A year ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, a year ago, all you heard was defund the police, defund the police, defund the police. Went on for 8 months, defund the police. Then I came across this little clip of Joe Biden addressing the Democratic National Committee saying, you need to stop saying defund the police. We're losing votes. You need to stop saying that. So all of a sudden, that disappears. You notice how that just kind of poof, gone. None of these politicians, none of these political activists, they don't really say it anymore because it's ridiculous, and it will cost them votes, and it's going to cost them more votes because no matter how her wordplay is, no matter how she tries to twist it and turn it, and what do you say? You call it word salad, Yeah,
word salad.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Police serve a purpose. There's bad ones. You know what? There's bad lawyers too. There's bad teachers. There's bad teachers, right? And the teachers actually, they got a dose of what the police go through this whole summer. Now they're all labeled as bad, all of them. I know some good teachers, but they lumped in with the rest of them. So teachers are bad because what they're teaching and what they're pushing, and not all of them are doing it, but. No. That's Hannah. I like you, but that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Am I going to have a social worker on a ride along with me? Are they going to be in a ride along, sitting in the back seat with me? And then what? When I'm done with the domestic, I drop them off on the corner because now we have an armed robbery in progress, or we have an active B&E. What do you mean? So okay. So this dude just beat the hell out of his wife, or this wife just beat the hell out of her husband. And I roll up with my partner, and we're going to say, okay, separate them, because you got to separate them. You put one in one room. Don't ever put any of them in the kitchen. You have one you don't. Or in the bedroom.
Knives.
Or in the bedroom where there's usually a gun or a weapon. That's right. You keep them away from each other, and then I say, you just have to hold on while we get a social worker in here. And what? Then the social worker is going to come in and say, what? Explain to me what happened. Oh, well, just take a look. What are they going to do? Marriage counseling right there in the house? No. That's too social workers can't do ride-alongs with police. Too dangerous.
And there's no scenario anywhere where you could see that working, Scott?
No. Unless you got a social worker going into a domestic? No.
The problem that it seems we're trying to solve here is they're not saying it.
Wait a minute.
No, I feel it.
Hold on. No, I feel de-escalating and training all LEOs. How do you know we don't get trained that way? See, that's the problem. That's the problem. How do you know? You assume we don't get trained that way. You just assume that we go in there and we're just balls to the wall, gung-ho, slamming people, right? How do you know we don't go through that training? You don't know because you've never been in it. So that's a ridiculous statement. Wendy Miller, friend of the show.
Does it vary? That's the question. Does it vary from state to state, municipality to municipality, and should it? Right? Because demographics are different everywhere.
A follow-up system is fine. That's fine. And they do kind of reference, hey, some cops will go out of their way to say maybe you want to go talk to somebody. Don't assume they don't do that either. I've talked to many people. I busted a guy one time, clear, cold, B&E. He's handcuffed. I got some guys that are giving him shit. Sorry to swear on the show. This isn't the right format, but And I tell you, leave the guy alone. His life is already messed up. So why are you rubbing it in? And they said, good point, Sergeant McLean, right? Then I just gave the kid a cigarette. He's already done. So we talk to people. We have compassion. You just don't see it. All you see is what CNN wants you to see and MSNBC wants you to see.
MSLSD.
Yeah, what they want you to see about police. Nah, not having that. There is some training. Yeah, there's a lot of training. What do you mean some training? Again, don't talk about something you've never done. Don't. No, I don't go into your world. Don't come into mine. Especially where I have law enforcement. You can have, you know what? You can have law enforcement in your family. That's fine. You're not doing it. You're not out in the street. So
That's the other piece of it, right?
What's that?
That's the other piece of it. People don't know how they react in a situation where someone, may have tried to stab them, or someone being on a high-speed chase, and the adrenaline that drives, and the rage it drives in a cop who just wants to go home at the end of his shift or her shift to their families.
No.
Context matters. And this is what's happening here is we're putting all the focus on cops. I guess the bigger question for me is, what is the responsibility of the non-complying citizen, What is the responsibility of that person who ends up getting shot, hurt, killed in a police encounter? What is their responsibility in that situation? How much blame should they take when it goes south? Because it seems they take none.
What is CE? CE will only benefit the LEOs and community. What's CE?
CE.
I don't know.
Critical enforcement.
I don't know. It's more letters and things.
And word salads.
Yeah. It would benefit the LEOs and the community. The police are there to benefit the community, by the way.
Community engagement.
Yeah. So, yes. And again, community, we're talking about a domestic. We're talking about, Hannah mentioned bringing a social worker along on a ride along, and then continuing education. Do you know how many, I'm not going to, you know what? This is going to move on to the next subject. It's going nowhere.
Continuing
ed. What did we say at the beginning? Just move along. Next subject.
Let's put a bow on this one, right? So here's the point, though. You see that this is a charged issue. We have questions in Winthrop about law enforcement. Lydia Edwards made a statement here in Winthrop about law enforcement, and she actually has a strong family, law enforcement family, who's very well connected in town supporting her. And I don't know if they know all of the stuff I found out. I hope they're watching. I hope they see this. And if they still want to choose to vote for Lydia, that's fine. But at least they'll have the context and everything that was said cleared up and accurate. The pro-law enforcement candidate out of these two is Anthony D'Ambrosio, hands down. There is no question about it. Lydia may not be anti-law enforcement. I'm not gonna throw that moniker on her, but she is for taking money away. She wrote a letter to Marty Walsh to reduce in concert with 4 or 5 other city councilors, requesting a 10% reduction in overtime budget. She voted on that same budget that had that reduction to reallocate funds. Reallocate, defund, move over, take away. You can use all the word gymnastics you want. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And we can move on.
It's kind of like, what is it, SEL and CRT?
CRT,
it's all
social and emotional learning. Yep.
Yeah, same thing. Social and emotional learning. And we're going to get to that, by the way.
Well, that's a great segue, Scott. Because we were talking, was it last week? We were talking about the fact that CRT, the teachers are in service training. We showed a video. Teachers in service training was pretty much stop being so white. And
well, the teachers do have to. They did have an in-service training on understanding their white privilege, because we're bad. We have to understand what our white privilege is. So,
that's right.
and you can't tell them. I mean, you can't talk to them and say there is no such thing, because they're already convinced that this is what it is, because they were told.
You don't understand, Scott.
No. I understand. I'm white. I'm a white male. And I'm proud to be a white male.
Right.
Yeah, I said it. So what? Too many people are afraid to say that, by the way.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. I'm proud to be a white male in America. Yeah. Who earned everything he got. No one gave me any privilege. I worked for everything.
That's not what it's about, Scott.
Yeah. Anyways, so transition.
So
I'm fired up now.
Sorry,
Thanks,
yeah,
Wendy.
and I'm
Thanks,
poking you.
Hannah. Thanks, Wendy. I was in a very mellow mood this evening.
Oh, I'll stop poking you. So
It was.
Yeah. And just for the viewers' edification, information, we are awaiting information from the school district. We've requested a lot of documentation regarding the curriculum, how much it cost, who's behind it. Hold on, someone play the laugh track?
No.
Oh God, that's funny.
All right, this. I accept. It's okay. It's okay. Now I'm like, I feel bad. Now I feel bad.
Good work, ladies. Way to go.
I'll go back to being mellow. Okay, I'm sorry, Todd.
That's quite all right. Should we? Never mind. I don't want to cross over.
No, go ahead. Wherever you were going, keep going, buddy.
Do you need to have a Luther?
No. No.
All right.
For that.
Yeah. So we're moving on. So we know that's happened. We're waiting on some information from the schools to bring to you. This is important stuff. Maybe some of you aren't watching the schools or don't have children in the schools, but this matters. This matters both for the short term and the long term of your community and your country. Candidly, if we're trying to rewrite history and play what I view as word constitution scramble and word gymnastics about what real history is and the good, the bad, and the ugly, this has an ongoing, potentially long impact. So I came across a show on MSLSD that was called Civil War. And in my quest to continue to try to take information and challenge my beliefs, I wanted to watch this and I wanted to see what I could get out of it. I recorded only 2.5 minutes of it because I caught the end of it. So I want to play some of this. And kind of break it down and go through it little by little. So Scott, if you bring it up, and I'm going to go ahead and play it. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Give it a click here.
I gave this
Can we hear it?
About the Jim Crow era.
Yes, yeah.
Alexander in her book. So as you're reading through that, I want you thinking, how did they recreate a lower class based on race after Reconstruction?
Black people in prison, they auctioned off the prisoners to like the highest bidder.
There was a loophole about slavery in the 13th Amendment. Did anyone catch that?
They outlawed slavery, but it was fit as a punishment for...
I love this kid.
What she's trying to say is that the criminal justice system, it's literally like the same thing as Jim Crow, which is her point.
I think she would say a new iteration of it. That's what we're really trying to look at, is the ways that is still with us.
That's assuming Jim Crow has
a presence today.
Yeah.
So just quickly, I wanted to address her 13th Amendment loophole. And keep in mind, everybody that's listening now and will be listening, school, whether it's K through 12 or college campuses, is and subject matter like civics, government, Constitution, and U.S. history, science, all that are meant to be an exchange of open ideas. This teacher, bless her heart, is trying to engage in that. However, she's framing things. She's leading in a way. She says that the 13th Amendment has a loophole in it. And again, context matters. This was we all know how old the Constitution is, but in the 13th Amendment, it says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So the bottom line is, quote unquote, slavery or involuntary servitude can only be engaged in for punishment of a crime. Now, slavery, by today's standards, I think we're all going to say, okay, you know what? Take slavery off the list in Amendment 13. But what's left out is the context of the fact that during this time, first of all, people's lives, like lots of people's lives, including, I would argue, that the slaves' lives depended upon cotton and free labor and all that pricing and the costs associated with it. Business plans were built on free labor. So you can't just for those who don't understand business, you can't just turn that stuff off. This amendment was not meant to keep slavery. This is not, and again, this is my interpretation, of course, but this is worth discussing in that class, and it's not being discussed. She's immediately calling it a loophole. You have to, the folks of that time needed a way to have cheap labor like we still need now. And abolishing slavery versus involuntary servitude, slavery versus involuntary servitude are two different things, maybe not much. You could make arguments. There's not much difference. But the point being, context matters. And she didn't address that. She just kind of put her opinion out there. So that's one place where, and Scott, this kind of rings true with your view of how CRT is woven into the curriculum.
Let's play the whole video and then we'll break it down.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
That's your assumption. That's not my assumption. Asian Americans are routinely discriminated.
This kid's Amerasian, by the way.
Get about like 400 SAT points higher than black people, and also they're discriminated against when they're applying for jobs. Your mind is so closed off to certain ideas.
We will continue. I love that you hang in there.
They're not willing to consider certain ideas because they've been taught that those ideas are really wrong. They're not true at all.
Yeah, but is the certain idea that you're really suggesting that Asians are better than black people? That's not what you're really saying, is it?
I mean, I'm not saying they're like inherently better. I'm just saying their situation is better right now.
But what would you attribute that to?
Higher income, higher representation in colleges and in
But why do you think they have that, and why do you think black people don't?
I don't know. I mean, Asians are discriminated much more in those areas because
Than black people?
yes.
We'll agree to disagree on that point, but we'll come back to it, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Well, I hope you look into that.
We'll look into it. Good. Thank you. It's a revelation to me that presenting, no matter how much information you present, sometimes people are going to hear it the way they want to hear it, and they're not going to.
Boom.
She's guilty of the same thing. It's hilarious.
Boom.
Exactly what, Miriam. I gave you the.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll take it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kid was Amerasian. And if you want to go look at the most liberal colleges in America, some of them are right there in Boston and Cambridge, Harvard,
MIT.
And look what Harvard did to they put a cap on Asian students, pretty much in a nutshell. And they opened it up to more black students. They said there was too many Asians. And it's happening all over the country. So this lady doesn't want to accept that, though. It's only about black people. That's it. It's only about black people. And Asians, they went through their own hell in this country. Japanese internment camps. Why aren't the liberals out parading for them? What about the Chinese that came over here and built the railroads with the Irish? No one's championing their cause. You know why? Because they don't ask for it. What's the name of that group? Rise above it?
That's real.
But the white liberal just has to be a mouthpiece for the black community. They just can't help themselves. What was it? Malcolm X said that the white liberal is the most dangerous person that the black community can be associated with. The white liberal is a fox, whereas the conservatives are wolves, and you see the wolf right in front of you, and you know what you're going to get from the wolf. But the white liberal is a fox, and they're the ones that are weaving in and out, and they're going to get you when the opportunity strikes. So,
well, and so this is how. So, and by the way, this is in Boston Public Schools. That's a Boston Public School classroom. So
yeah,
this is. I'm given the fact I don't know about anybody else, but given the fact that we saw an actual clip from an in-service training in Winthrop that is pushing this type of theory, if you will, into a teacher's mindset. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if in some of our classrooms this type of thing is happening, which is why I've also submitted a Freedom of Information Act for all the names of the history, government, civics teachers, and all the curriculum, all that stuff. I want to see what's being taught. Not sure it's going to show anything because, as you saw in the classroom, you have to kind of catch it.
It's under the guise of SEL.
Yeah. Well,
wasn't there an article in the Herald today? Wasn't there?
Yes, there was. It's right.
About beware SEL. And it's a huge money grab. I'll put it up on the Winthrop Votes Facebook group later on or tomorrow. Or you can go find it in the Herald, whether the physical or the virtual. And it basically breaks down what SEL is. So that's another thing. They stopped saying defund the police and they stopped saying CRT. They started saying alternate policing and SEL. It's just they're changing it up right in front of you.
Well, because when it smells lousy and no one likes it, they got.
It's costing them votes.
Right. So they got to repackage it.
Yeah.
It's politics.
Prove me wrong, by the way, anybody that's watching. And I will willingly say, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
So.
And now this raises another good point. Last week when we had Lane had called in and gave us a better breakdown of the minority populations in our schools. I had said it was 8 black kids. It turned out to be 28. But the point here is, first of all, I hold our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission responsible for the fact that all we're talking about and all they're talking about is our black marginalized community members.
Yeah.
Right. We're not addressing all of it. So again, you want someone from DEI want to come on and talk about what you're doing for the other members of our community. I believe we have more Latino folks in our community than we do black. What are we doing for them? Right. What efforts are we making to provide equity to them?
By the way, it's called the Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations, right? They're a commission. Now, this commission is technically, what were they saying? What did our friend Rob DeMarco say? Oh, they're just an advisory committee.
Right.
That was Rob DeMarco, the town councilor at large. Oh, they're just an advisory committee, right? So if they're an advisory committee, why are they checking on school policy and what's being taught? Why do they have, let me see if I can pull this up. It's for some reason the graphics don't come up well on this, but is it this one? Yes, let me see.
School DEI curriculum update, third bullet.
Right.
Is that
right.
the one? No.
And then let's see. Update Superintendent Lisa Howard, fall 2021. Diversity curriculum in schools. Now, what do why are they even involved with the? Now, I'm going to start calling out the superintendent, and I'm going to have a call to action. Email her, call her. Why is she even meeting with them and having to update them? Or why are they updating her? Why is there even a connection there? If they're an advisory committee, then they're doing more than advising, because that stuff is in the school now, and that whole secret website that they want to put up just for the teachers. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is real. We have it. We just don't have it right now. I don't know. Wait a minute.
I did request again, Freedom of Information Act, to find out when that website is going back up, because that's what they're talking about, and if we, the public, can get access to the faculty side of the site, so we can see what they're teaching the faculty.
Yeah, there shouldn't be anything secretive going on behind the scenes. But evidently, the diversity and equity and inclusion and community relations commission feels. And then there was the connection to the town council. I believe there was something on their agenda that said follow up Tracy Honen's idea on something. And she might be the queen of the leftist liberals in Winthrop. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But I'm sure she's right in cahoots with all of them. She's in there digging, making phone calls, sending emails, making it happen. So they're connected to the school superintendent and a town councilor, right?
Yep.
But they're just an advisory commission. They're a commission. They're unelected. They're selected. So we are digging, and I know that one of them is watching, or they're going to hear about this, but we are going to get the minutes from their past meetings. They have agendas, but we can't find the minutes. If there's no minutes to produce, they're in violation of the state's open meeting laws, right? Multiple times, not once, not twice. This would be multiple times.
That's correct.
There's going to be a call to have them disband because they're not operating correctly. Then there's the thing where they said, what was it about the protests?
Oh, they were providing, there was an agenda item that on one of their meetings, which we have no minutes for, that talked about prepping for the protests that were happening in Winthrop.
So that's a political activism.
Political activism, which is not allowed.
Right, but it's right there on their agenda. So if we get those minutes, just the fact that that's mentioned on the agenda should be grounds enough to break them up. Because now they're operating like Phil Boncory was. They're rogue now. They're doing whatever they want. And that can't be happening. And Jim Lettieri is coming in, and the town council president evidently is the one that selects these people. And I'm sure the town council president can be the one who deselects these people. Maybe it needs to be broken down and rebuilt again. Not done away with totally. Just break it down and rebuild it and have a different mix of people in there.
And if I may, while we're talking about this commission, I have been invited to several meetings, except there's only been 2 or 3 that I can see on the town website. And I've not gone. So I've been watching the website, the town website. I've looked out to March of 2022. There's not a single meeting posted.
No meetings.
Nope.
Why is that?
Am I supposed to guess at when I should look on the town website, or does the commission want me to look on the town website every day in hopes that I'll catch that meeting and still have enough time to make sure my schedule works?
Or are they just doing it rogue?
Well, right. Then
They're just doing it rogue. They're doing it on their own.
I'm not sure. All I know, I have opinions too.
Yeah,
but I'm trying. I'm trying.
Hannah wants to know, what's the goal of advising if not to move towards change? We're not saying that. But the change is the change they want, right? It's the change they want. See, that's the problem. An advisory committee that wants what they want, and they're getting what they want done. And they're all leaning in the same direction. So that's not productive. That's actually divisive.
Yeah, and I think on this particular role, it's a bit different too, because it's about, they're advising in the schools.
And they don't even need an advisory committee. That's a whole nother thing.
Right.
This is an unnecessary thing. Winthrop has not had any issues that I've heard of.
No.
I have a lot of friends that live there, and I have friends that have kids there, and I have friends that have grandchildren there. This is an advisory board that was created by Phil Boncory as a virtue signal because Revere's doing it, and East Boston's doing it, and Chelsea's doing it, and someone put the screws to him, probably someone like Tracy Honen, and said, we need to have one too. But why are there no conservatives on that advisory committee for change? Why?
It's a good question.
That's my question to you, Hannah.
And Hannah, to dovetail, right? I think to answer your question, yes, we want them to advise, but on the school side, there has to be parents
Stay
involved.
out of school. Stay out of the school.
Yeah, you're coming in between parents and their children. Even in the worst case scenario, let's just assume the worst, that there's some white supremacist parent out there that wants his kid to cut his hair a certain way and look like a neo-Nazi. We can't stop that. That's not illegal.
It's not acceptable
No.
in a lot of places, but
Yeah,
it's not illegal.
It's in bad form. It's in bad taste. I would be if some dude dressed up as Hitler and starts coming around my family,
There's a problem.
I'm gonna have a problem with it, right? I mean, let's call it what it is. But at the same time, I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, this advisory committee is dictating policy, is what they're doing. And they need to stay away from the schools. The schools have nothing to do with them. Work on the town, because the last part of their name is community relations.
That's right.
Right. And don't come back at me with, well, the schools are part of the community and we need to. They're not working on the people, the regular citizens, are they?
Nope.
No. They're working in that school system. Did you know? Now that we're in the Christmas season, and this is true. This is going on in the Winthrop school system. So evidently in the middle school, teachers would have a secret Santa every year. Every office does it. It's been going on forever, right? But this year, there's a young teacher in charge of it, new teacher. And it is no longer Secret Santa, because Santa is not inclusive. And I hope you're on board with that, people watching that are, liberal. I hope you're on board with this, because this is your people talking. These are your people. Santa is not inclusive. So the teachers had to change it to the secret snow person. Oh, it's true. It's true. Secret snow person, because Santa is not inclusive.
Did someone get
This is your people talking. So I hope you're on board with that. So no Santa at your house, because that's not inclusive. No. True story, by the way. Prove me wrong.
I guess we need to define inclusive then. I mean, because I've never known Santa anywhere and we all know Santa's kind of all over the place. People stand in the line to get their picture taken with him. I don't see it all being white, folks. I don't, I know that's kind of a crazy anecdote, but.
Yes, Wendy, in Winthrop. Yes.
Yeah.
I do have sources. Trust me. People are reaching out to us.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
In Winthrop.
In Winthrop.
Snow person. Secret snow person.
Secret snow person. Those are your people.
If the socialists that are trying to change us, and I know some people are going to think that this is getting crazy conspiracy theory. I don't know what else we can do to prove that this isn't necessarily an organized conspiracy. It's just a bunch of people that think the same way, sharing their tools they're using to bring the change they want. This is real. It's not a conspiracy theory. Oh.
Okay. I view that as an overshoot, but I also understand that some people may feel left out. Left out of what? It's a weird thing when religious-based things like holidays become a more overarching cultural thing. Gets very. What? Where did you grow up, Hannah? Did you hate Christmas? Did you quit? Did you think of Christmas like this when you were a child? Was this your viewpoint on Christmas when you were a child? When did this click? When did this click in your head that, something? Yeah, I think there's people that are uncomfortable with Christmas and Santa and Mrs. Claus and the elves. I think there's people uncomfortable. Just relax, everybody. Relax. It's a holiday. It's Christmas. It's Santa. It's fantasy. Santa's not real, by the way. He's not a real character. Okay? He's not a real person. Everybody needs to relax. Let Christmas just, so what? I'm offended by a lot of things. Why aren't you sticking up for me?
You're a big
I get offended by a lot of things, but I don't go running. I'm really not comfortable with the fact that I have to be subjected to that situation. What happened? Where did it go? Like, when did Christmas become like? When did that snap in somebody's head? These are the same people that grew up with Halloween. You went to school with costumes on, and you went out trick or treating, and then they grew up and had kids, and they're like, no, bad. Halloween, bad thing, uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's not a good representation. We're going to call it Harvest Day. Happy Harvest Day. When did you adults snap? Someone should do a thesis on that. Someone should definitely do something on that, because that's an amazing transition. All right, I'm done.
Are you okay?
It's true.
Well, you listen, it is true, but you do have people who are overly empathic. Is that the right word? Strong empath.
I know you love Christmas, but you're sticking up for people that are, I'm sorry, Todd. Me and Hannah are having our own conversation tonight, evidently.
I can see that. You're gonna scare her away.
That's why they're friends of the show. I didn't see it. I think I owe you. You got me wound up twice tonight. You beat Wendy by a mile tonight, Hannah.
Or at least a cigarette. Maybe not a drink, but
you're killing me tonight. I'm going to sleep good because I'm exhausted already. I'm sorry, Todd. I'm done.
Listen, the point at the end of all this is look, and I've been saying this, and you've been saying this. A lot of people have been saying this. People got to stop being offended. They've got to find it within themselves.
Just relax, everybody.
Let it go. Just let it go.
Is that a hard concept to follow?
It's
just relax. It's Christmas.
Yeah,
go celebrate it all over the world, except for in Winthrop Middle School, where it's secret snow person. Do you see the depths of this? Do you see the depths of this? This is what you're teaching. So what they're teaching kids to be like, it's gonna be. I always said this generation is the 60s on steroids. It absolutely is. There's a revolution going on. There's change. The old guard doesn't accept it well, but the young guard is all for it, and they're moving forward. And it is what it is, right? It just doesn't make any sense when these kids that you're teaching are going to grow up to be worse than that. They're going to nullify everything. And you taught them. You pushed these values on them. And these kids don't know what they're missing. And oh, somebody's left out. Somebody's left out, right? That's going to happen. That's life.
It's never
life
fair.
Isn't easy. Life isn't easy. This kid's got to learn sometimes the hard way, right? So if they have to sit in a classroom and hear the word Christmas and Santa, if they got to sit in a classroom and that triggers them, then they need to seek psychiatric help.
1,000%.
Because it's just not going to go away. It's not. And again, she got me on a rant again. Okay.
Good job. Do you not want to? Well, you don't want to. Don't roll the next one across.
I'm not. No, wait a minute. Anthony Bonacosa, and I got a break for the show. Anthony, I have not talked to Anthony in a long time. And when the mayor of Winthrop, the unofficial mayor with the Bob Gillis busts in, he gets priority over Wendy, over Hannah, over all of you. Okay, the unofficial mayor with the Bob Gillis gets priority on this show. And there you go.
I didn't know he was watching. Thanks for watching, Bob.
Wendy got jokes tonight. Chris wanna is that Hawaiian? Is that Hawaiian?
Christmas Hanukkah Wayanua.
I knew a layer.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah. So I don't know where we started with this. Oh, the secret Santa in the schools, and this is what's going on in the school system, and we're just scratching the surface of this. The superintendent I am personally going to call her out a lot in the future, and I will have a call to arms to say, email her, call her, do whatever you got to do, find out what's going on. She needs to explain why this is happening, why the school system is spending money on things that might not be necessary. If a few think it should happen and there's many that don't, then why are you doing it? And that's the perception I'm getting from the people that are contacting me. So with that said, all right, we're coming up on an hour, buddy.
Yeah, we got a lot in. I'm good. I think I'm good.
I'm going to bed.
I think you need to lay down.
My microphone's over here. I'm a mess. Thanks, Hannah. Jeez. Wendy, come back. Wendy, come back, Wendy.
Friend of the show. Yeah. Friends of the show. We haven't heard from Rob. I don't even know if he's on.
I don't know. Also, by the way, somebody had criticized me at one point on this show because of the levity, the kind of light-hearted joking that I might be guilty of sometimes. Relax. Don't let it get to you. It's just levity. We can't be dead serious the whole show.
I'll get yelled at for that too, though.
I'll get yelled. Someone's going to, like I said, I've already been called a transphobe, a homophobe, a bully.
Racist.
What else? A couple other things. That's okay. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a good show. I think we got the point across. I know we have a lot more to talk about as we're waiting on information relative to the schools.
You got a lot of material in that diversity, inclusion, and community relations.
Yep.
Are now back in our sites, and we want answers. Or we will do our best to get them broke down, disbanded, and built up again. We will, and we'll find ways. They might think they're untouchable, but now they're on the radar. They have to be accountable. And this show was built on transparency in local politics. They have not been transparent.
Nope, they have not.
No, and they've been basically underground. But now they're in the limelight. And we get a lot of views after the fact. So, this isn't going away.
Notes, produce the minutes, produce the notes. Be more astute in your scheduling of your meeting. So if people do want to attend, they have time. I'm seriously considering putting my hat in the ring to be on that commission, and talking to Jim about, adding a seat.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. Someone's going to be on there that represents me and my children.
A white male conservative.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
It's not poison. It really isn't poison.
No. Nope.
So let me see. Hannah says, "Sweet dreams, Dan. Y'all need to hug it out. Fine." Is there such thing as a token liberal friend? Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah. I actually have a few. We just don't discuss politics. That's all.
That's right.
One of them actually tried to tell me to censor myself on Facebook.
Oh, that's enough of that.
That didn't go well. But, yeah, man. So, again, December 2nd, let's finish it how we started. December 2nd is that appeals board.
Yeah, make sure
for the condo. Get Chris Pearl off my. Where is he? Get off my show. Chris Pearl interrupting me. For the monstrosity proposal up on Shore Drive, be there. Even if you don't live in the area, be there. Don't let this go. Don't. You'll regret it. Your voice. If you say I don't need it, there'll be enough people. You know how many times that's happened? And everybody had the same idea. There'll be enough people. I don't have to watch. It'll be your mistake. You'll regret it. That's for sure.
Happens all the
And
time.
let me get that off. All right.
Yep. So don't forget that. Don't forget to hey, listen, if anybody out there knows anyone on the DEI or on that commission that can help us, get them to talk to us, please. And don't forget December 14th. I know we'll talk before then, but December 14th is the special election. And Winthrop Votes is this half of Winthrop Votes is endorsing Anthony D'Ambrosio.
Absolutely, I guess. I'm with you, buddy.
Sorry.
I'm with you. No, absolutely. It's who's the better of two evils in reality.
That's what it's coming
If
down
that's
to.
how you just want it, just put it out there. Who's the better of two evils?
That's right.
You know, I'm not saying I've done my homework on both of them. He's no angel, but yeah, we'll go with him. And we're pretty good. We're 1 for 1 so far.
Yeah, let's be 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Let's hope. So
Todd,
guys,
are we doing a Secret Santa this year?
do you want to do a Secret Santa?
That's you and me. We'll do a Secret Santa.
All right.
How's that?
All right. Who's the secret?
Well,
I want the snowman.
nah, you want the snowman.
All politics starts at the local level, Scott. Did you know
That's
that?
right, buddy. And we'll end the show with Merry Christmas.